Was this someone in the stream that sent this? Because I was asking about this earlier.
Let's make...
You. Okay. We can check out the Sea of Sorrow trailer. I'm sure Mossbag's gonna have totally serious, not meme, very, very honest discussion of the Silksong Sea of Sorrow trailer, as he always does. No jokes. Zero jokes.
Oi, better!
Team Cherry just announced the first piece of free Silksong DLC content.
Wow.
Silksong Sea of Sorrow, also known as SSSOS, or as the cool kids have been calling it, SOS. This update is going to be nautical themed, featuring new areas, bosses, tools, and more. According to the description on the YouTube page, voyage across and beneath the salt-stricken seas in this thrilling expansion.
This truly is a Mossbag video.
Free for all players. In addition to dropping a new trailer, Team Cherry also released a new blog post announcing that Silksong has already sold over 7 million copies since launch. That's a lot of Silksong players, and it's not even counting how many people have played on Game Pass. Now typically, I don't like things that are popular or mainstream, because, you know, I'm cool like that.
Yes, you are, Mossbag. Yes, you are.
But with Silksong, I'm willing to make an exception. At least it didn't win Game of the Year, so it's still kind of a...
Look, I do actually kind of feel bad for the KCD devs. They did such a fucking phenomenal job, and any other year, I think KCD or Silksong would have gotten Game of the Year. E33, like, it was such a generational RPG that you just had no chance this year.
Obscure. The blog post also announced that the original Hollow Knight will be getting a small update as well. And while I'm sure you're all really excited to hear about that...
I think it has, like, widescreen support, or, like, ultra-wide support now, which is neat, I guess, if you want to play Hollow Knight with ultra-wides.
I first wanted to go over this new Sea of Sorrow trailer to see if we can piece together what Team Cherry is cooking up here. Let's start with the obvious. Sea of Sorrow is going to feature a saltwater sea, something we haven't seen in Hollow Knight before.
True.
So that's already a huge piece of world building.
Does that mean we're going to have to fight water bugs? We're probably going to fight underwater. Do we fight, like, plankton? Is that a bug? Is plankton technically a bug? I don't know. Feels like a bug.
Right there. If you saw the Silksong reveal trailer back in 2019, you might remember this bay area appearing in a few clips. The first shot of the new trailer shows these poles, which
okay, wait, okay, this is actually, like, I wasn't expecting this from a Mossbag video. That's actual, like, real content there. So this is probably something where they didn't know how to fit it into the base game. This is maybe something they didn't know how to fit into the base game, or something they were, like, bouncing ideas around for and just never... Yeah, and it's the same pole. Okay. Yeah, so they were originally planning to include this area.
Appearing in a few clips. The first shot of the new trailer shows these poles, which look identical to ones found in the Cut Bay area. This area is referred to as Farloom Bay in unused map data present in Silksong's code when it first launched. We actually know quite a bit about Farloom Bay thanks to the Game Worlds event at the Australian Centre for Moving Images. ACMI has been displaying a ton of R. Gibson sketches and numerous development maps of Farloom from various stages of Silksong's development. Members of the Hollow Knight Wiki have done an amazing job combing through all these old maps and sketches to piece together a lot of information I'll be sharing in this video. I highly recommend...
Brodie, you said yourself that Silksong is far from Game of the Year, because... I know what I said, right? But I also know that it would have got Game of the Year if it wasn't for E33. Like, I would not give it Game of the Year myself, but I would understand if it got Game of the Year. People were hyping it up so fucking much. Like, it was the game that was, like, any other year, it would have had it. Just flat out. It doesn't even matter if the game was, like, kind of mid. It would have probably had it because of how much hype was behind the game.
I recommend checking this page out in full if you want to learn more about Silksong's scrapped areas and ideas. Also, if you live in Australia
I do.
and can go to ACMI yourself, you can help the wiki out a lot by getting more photographs of these maps. I've linked a document in the description explaining the process for taking pictures and
Why does no one know how to take a picture? How is every single picture here terrible?
what parts of the map still need to be photographed. You too can help preserve Silksong development history for our children and grandchildren to enjoy. Farloom Bay first appeared on a map from February.
Like, how old is... Okay, sorry.
Our children and grandchildren to enjoy.
Like, does nobody own a good phone? How are the pictures so fucking bad? Like, is everyone who's going to this, like, using some fucking 2005 phone? Like, do you have an iPhone 1?
Farloom Bay first appeared on a map from February 2019, on the right side of Greymore. However, at some point between late 2021 and early 2022, it was removed, and that part of the map eventually became the home for Verdania. Despite being removed from the map, it seems Team Cherry still had a place in mind for Farloom Bay. There's still several hints of the region's existence in the final game. A corpse resembling the hermit crab-like character shown off in the trailer can be found inside the memoriam. There was a save profile art for the area in the game at launch. Alchemist Zolotl mentions that his master found plasmium at the farthest edge of Farloom, hidden deep in salt-stricken waters. Not only that, but there's evidence that Farloom Bay was going to border Biowater. This placement is what we see in the unused map data I mentioned earlier. There's also a cut line from Zolotl referring to Biowater as swamps beside the sea. The lore tablet in Weaveness Merglin refers to its resident weaver as sat between salt and stone. And this room's clean water and abundance of kelp and vines further hint that the area is close to Farloom Bay. On development maps of Biowater from 2023 and beyond, we can see two rooms that never appear in the final game. These rooms line up with two dead ends currently, but it seems possible that one of these dead ends will be turned into a passageway for Farloom Bay in the upcoming update. Alright, cool. But what exactly do we do once we make it to Farloom Bay? Do we just hang out with this slimy fella?
Well, in the trailer, they did have the blue boys. Where is the picture? Where is it? Where is it? Show me the thing. Where the fuck is it? Here. They clearly have the blue boys here. The whatever they're called. I don't remember what they're called. The whatever the fuck they are. Obviously, that's gonna be. I assume the professor is somehow gonna be involved in this DLC as well.
We make it to Farloom. Sound nice. It seems like Hornet is going to be getting her grubby little hands on some kind of ship or submarine in this area. Before the Farloom Bay was removed from the old development maps, a strange object was added to the bottom left corner of the map in 2021.
Yeah, Plasmial Lifeline.
At the same time, a bunch of new, isolated maps were added.
Oh, and yeah, all of this is like covered in Plasmium here.
Each of which featured this same mysterious object. It appears to have a black body and a bright light on its right side. This is probably the object appearing behind Hornet in the new trailer.
Presumably the fast travel system for this area. That would be my assumption.
Since this update is going to allow Hornet to voyage beneath the sea, it seems like this object is some kind of submarine crafted from a giant shell that Hornet will use to reach new areas. But what are these new areas Hornet can travel to? Let's look at some of the regions displayed on the old development maps. There's a collection of rooms that appear to be related, but it's hard to tell what they are supposed to be. One room has really tall pillars sticking out of the sea. Another potential stop Hornet might make is at the Ocean Outpost. This area appeared in RA Sketchbook and on development maps. We can also see what might be a hidden underwater cave. But there's not much to go on with these areas, since they are so small and underdeveloped.
Okay, one thing, sorry, I'm going to sidetrack for a second. The whole thing with Wuthering Waves, do you know why Wuthering Waves one-player voice? And this happens every time there is a gacha game that's involved in any sort of event. It's because whenever there's a gacha game involved, they will usually offer some sort of reward if they win whatever it is. So, their fans fucking go out and vote because they want free rolls, they want free characters. Usually it's something like that, like whatever premium currency the game has. Almost every single time that like a gacha game is involved in a competition, that's what happens. That's usually why, like, they'll just appear out of fucking nowhere. And that's honestly why I think Wuthering Waves won player's voice. Otherwise, I have no idea how that happened.
It's worth mentioning that what we see in these old maps might be outdated, so don't expect to see all this stuff in the final game. Another room shown off in the development maps should look familiar. It appears to be the same area shown off in the new trailer. The contraption we see getting struck by lightning appears at the very top of this area, and we can see those same blue petals here as well. A similar looking structure appears in Ari's sketchbook, labeled Lab. The leading theory right now is that this area is the Lifeblood Spire, a region of Farloom that only ever appeared in the very first sketch of Silksong's map shown to the public. The blue colors are reminiscent of Lifeblood, and when you combine that with the whole lab aesthetic, and the fact that Zalotl mentions his master found Lifeblood deep within the sea, all signs point to this area being related to Lifeblood. That said, these petals don't quite match the butterfly-like leaves we're used to seeing, and they don't even move in the wind. Perhaps they are the result of some kind of experiment manipulating Lifeblood. Does the lighting we see striking this device have something to do with it? One more thing about this clip.
Possibly some sort of, like, solidified lifeblood, something like that. I don't know. Crazy how quickly Guts Games rose to fame since, what, COVID? When did Genshin come out? 2020. Yeah, basically since COVID. Because there were Guts games before that, absolutely. But Genshin is what, like, really changed the game. Because then, like, from before Genshin, a lot of gacha games were games like Fate Grand Order. Whereas, like, some kind... It looked, you know, it looks kind of okay, but it was very clearly a mobile game. Genshin came out, and that was like a full PC game with gacha. And that's what changed it. Because now it's no longer just, like, kind of shitty mobile games. It's now actually really good desktop games with really predatory funding mechanisms.
We've seen lighting in Hollow Knight before, specifically within the Land of Storms. So the storm here isn't a new thing in Hollow Knight's lore, in case you were wondering. There's only one clip left from the trailer I haven't mentioned yet. It reminds me of the various chapels Hornet could discover on her journey. You can even see what appears to be melted candles surrounding this plinth. So we might be getting a new crest with this update. These bumps might indicate that a creature similar
might be. There is no world where we're not getting a new crest. That's obvious. That's obviously going to be included.
To Zango or Alchemist Zalotl is underneath here, but I'm a bit skeptical about that. So it seems this update will be pretty isolated from the rest of Silksong. That makes sense considering they are adding new areas here. It would be a bit more difficult to slot areas into the existing map with how big and interconnected it already is. The only thing I'm worried about is the name for this update, Sea of Sorrow. That's a bit foreboding, isn't it? Although suffering and sorrow shouldn't be anything new for us Silksong fans. I also did want to briefly mention that Hollow Knight is getting a bug fix update as well. They made a couple of changes to make gameplay in Hollow Knight align more with Silksong. One big change is that the game is actually going to pause when you open the inventory menu now. That's pretty crazy, but makes sense, I guess. But they did make one change in this new update that absolutely baffles me. Salubra's Blessing now disappears once your soul vessels are full. Unplayable.
I keep hearing game devs talk about whales in GDC. Gacha games are master manipulation of whales. Oh, absolutely. You don't know how much psychology goes into the funding of video games. So we're going to finish Sea of Sorrow, Silksong's, presumably before Sea of Sorrow comes out. Assuming it doesn't come out in, like, fucking January 1st. But we will come back to Silksong when the DLC comes out. And we'll absolutely be checking it out. So, yeah. Look, I have my issues with Silksong. It's not my game of the year. Like, E33 is my game of the year. However, I still think the game is really, really good. Like, I can say that for a fact. I think the game is phenomenal, but it has problems. And I don't know, maybe some of those problems will be dealt with. I hope we don't have to deal with more fucking double damage, but we probably will. And it's probably going to be very, very, very annoying. Anyway,